Hi, One Hour Smart Home here, and today we're going to show you how to use the Nest E thermostat or give you the Nest E missing manual. So the first thing you need to know about the Nest E is that you can control it by rotating this outer bezel, and when you want to make a selection, you're just going to press on this button here. So currently the Nest E is showing that our indoor temperature is 72 degrees and our air conditioning set point is 78 degrees. If I were to turn this down and adjust it, the air conditioning would turn on. Now, I know it's on air conditioning because the Nest E is currently displaying blue numbers. If those numbers were orange, it would mean that the heat is on. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this down to 68, and now our air conditioning is on. Now, let's say I want to change the Nest E from air conditioning to heat. Well, I can do that. I just go in here and I select by pressing this button down here. So I go ahead and select that now. Now it shows me the different options. I can choose cooling, I can rotate the bezel and choose heat, I can rotate and choose heat cool, or I can turn the Nest E off. Now the last option is eco mode, and we'll get into that. But first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and switch the Nest E to heat. So now I've switched the Nest E to heat, and you can see that the numbering is orange. Currently we have our heat set to 70 degrees and it's 72 degrees currently inside the house, which means that the heat won't pop on until it gets 2 degrees cooler in the home. Now if I wanted to turn on the heat to get it a little bit warmer, I would just turn that up to 73 and the heat will stay on until the temperature set point reaches 73 degrees. Now you see down here at the bottom it says 73 in 15 minutes. Well, that's because after a certain amount of time your Nest E will learn how long it takes for your house to heat up and cool down. So after knowing that information, the Nest E can predict how long it will take to go up 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees in your house, and it just gives you that notification down at the bottom. Now, if I turn it up to 74, 75, you can see that that time extends on the Nest E, and the time it takes for my home to get to that temperature will increase. Now, I'm just going to go back and look at some of the other options here. So let's go ahead and switch to heat cool. Well, I've got this turned on now, and what we've got here is 2 set points. What the heat cool setting does on the Nest E is provide a temperature range where heat will turn on at a certain temperature and air conditioning will turn on at a certain temperature. So right now, the air conditioning will turn at 75, and at 68 the heat would turn on. This is great for seasons like spring and fall, where you might have some days where you need heating and other days where you want cooling. Now you can adjust these set points by rotating the dial here. So you just go ahead and I would click 68 and then I would click this again, and now I can rotate that to a smaller temperature range. So let's say I want to keep it between 70 and 73. I'm just going to go ahead and rotate my heat to turn on at 70. And then I can go over here and adjust my temperature for air conditioning as well. All I'm going to do is rotate and I can then change it. So right now it says press to change. I go ahead and click on that and I can just rotate that down now to 73. So I'm just going to click again to set that temperature set point. Now you can see that our temperature range for the Nest E and heat cool setting will stay between 70 and 73. I typically prefer to use just the heat or cool settings on the Nest, but you can absolutely do this through the thermostat and set a range if you want to do that through seasons like fall or spring. We're going to go ahead and click again and go back to the main menu. Now, if I want to turn off the Nest thermostat, I would just click here and the Nest thermostat will be 100% off. It will not turn on, but it still registers the temperature within my home. This means that neither your heating nor your cooling will turn on if you have your Nest thermostat completely off. I'm going to go ahead and turn my Nest back to cooling mode and just make sure that we've got this up high enough so that it doesn't turn on while I'm doing this video. Now we're back in the menu and I'm just going to scroll over to eco mode. So I'm going to go ahead and select this now by pressing down at the bottom, and it says, do you want to use eco temperatures? The eco mode temperature setting is designed to save you money. You can set a high temperature and a low temperature in the eco mode setting, where your thermostat will automatically revert to these temperatures when it determines that you're away, or you can just start eco mode if you want to save energy on a particularly nice day. But in order to set your eco mode temperatures, you're going to have to go to another screen. You could start your eco mode temperatures from here, but you cannot set them. So I'm just going to go click on more info, and you can read about this a little bit. But we're going to go back, and now we're going to go and set our actual eco mode temperatures and show you some of the other settings on the Nest. So let's go down here, and we're just going to go ahead and click on settings. Now, this gives us all kinds of different stuff. We can set a schedule. We can look at our energy usage history. We can set home away assist, but we're going to go to that eco mode temperature first. So here I can choose my eco mode temperature. I could set my heat to 50 degrees, or I'm going to change this because I live in Chicago and I want to set it to 60 degrees. So the coldest it would ever get when I'm away from my house or when the eco mode settings are on is 60 degrees, and that will still help me save energy. Now, the cooling temperature is currently set to off, but you can also adjust that. If you've got a pet, you might want to make sure that you adjust that to a temperature that's going to be comfortable for your pet while you're away, if you do plan on leaving your Nest thermostat in eco mode. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that to 76, or make sure that I don't enable in eco mode and have home and away assist off if I plan on leaving my pet at home and it tends to get too hot in your house. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at 76 and click done. Now I'm going to go back to some of these other settings and just click done here, and we're going to go back and go into the settings here. So now I can go ahead and set a schedule. It's much easier to set a schedule from the app, but you can also do it on the device itself. So once you've clicked on schedule, you're just going to go ahead and click again, and you can select a new point. So I click a new point, and it currently is set to 75 degrees. Now when I rotate the outer bezel, it will let me adjust the time of 75 degrees. So if I want it 75 degrees at 3 p.m., I can now select that by pressing this button down below. Now it's going to let me adjust the temperature. So if I want it at a lower set point, let's say 70 degrees at 3 p.m., I can turn that dial down and keep adjusting it, or I can go up and adjust that temperature to 77 at 3 p.m. So when you make the first choice, you adjust the time. When you make the second choice, you adjust the temperature. So I'm just going to choose, let's say 82 degrees here, and now we are done. And we just go ahead and click again, and that controls that point. Let's say I want to disable this point, or I want to remove this point completely from the Nest E. I go ahead and click on this again, and all I do is click remove here, and it's gone. Now I can scroll over to my other days. We've got Sunday here, we've got Saturday, and I'm just going to pick on one of these days. You can see that it goes all the way through the week, and I can go back down to Wednesday or Monday. But let's say I wanted to remove an existing point. I just select that point right here by clicking on it, and I could change it and go side to side for different times, or I can go ahead and click it again and change the temperature. And if I want to remove it, I just click again until that pops up and remove. Now, let's say I accidentally clicked on one of these and I don't want to remove it. All I need to do is click cancel, and it won't change my settings for my temperature or my schedule at all for the Nest E. And for me to get out of here, I just click somewhere in empty space, and then I go ahead and click done. And that's going to take me back to the main screen on the Nest E thermostat. Now I want to go into the settings of the Nest E and look at a couple other adjustments that I can make. So I click here, and I can continue to rotate and go ahead and look at my history by clicking on that selection. And in this history tab, it will show you a graphic representation of how much energy you used or how long your HVAC system was on for a particular day. So here we can see on Friday, my HVAC system was on for 1 hour and 3/4. I can scroll back and we can see Wednesday it was on for 2 1/4 hours, Tuesday 2 1/4 hours, and Monday it must have been hot, so it was on for 4¼ hours. Now, if I want to see more detail on this, I just go ahead and click on the button down here, and it's going to show me more detail in exactly the time frames that the HVAC system was running. It also tells me that my energy usage was around the weekly average. Just a nice note if you want to know exactly how much your HVAC system was running and what times it was running. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. And for most of these menus, if you're having a hard time figuring out how to get out of them, just keep rotating the outer circle on the Nest E thermostat until you get to a screen that says done, and then go ahead and click on that. So if you ever get stuck in a menu, just keep rotating it until you get to this done check mark, and then click done, and it will take you back to the main screen on the Nest E. Now I'm going to go back into the settings, and we're going to go look at some of these other settings here. So we've looked at scheduling, we've looked at history. Now let's look at home away assist. It says Nest will automatically use eco temperatures when no one's home. So it uses GPS and a sensor within your Nest device, as well as an algorithm to detect if you are home or not. Right now, the Nest currently doesn't have eco mode temperatures on, and that's why it says use eco. If I want to turn on those eco mode temperatures, I'm just going to go ahead and click here, and that will revert the Nest settings for home and away assist to those eco mode temperatures that we selected earlier. So if I wanted to turn those on, I would just click here, and now this is on. Now, when we go into the eco mode temperature setting, you can see that it is on, and we could select stop using if we no longer wanted to have our eco mode temperatures used when we are away from our home. Or you could just scroll down and click done if you want to leave eco mode on. Let's go ahead and click more info, and it says your thermostat can save energy automatically by adjusting the temperature when no one's home. So that is eco mode. We're going to go ahead and turn eco mode off. So we click that, and now we can see eco mode is off. It's not super intuitive there, but if you see the selection use eco, that means that your eco mode setting is off. Now we're going to go ahead and click done here, and then we're going to scroll over to one of our next settings. We can see that's eco mode. We've already gone through that, so we're going to go to the next one here. Now, the safety temperature is a minimum and maximum set point. If for whatever reason you turned your Nest off, and let's say you went on vacation for 2 weeks, this safety temperature will turn your Nest on and heat your house or cool your house to this temperature even if it is in off mode. So you want to do this to make sure that your pipes don't freeze, or if you never want your house getting over a certain temperature. So we would just click again, and we could adjust these just like eco mode. Now, your HVAC system will never revert to these temperatures. It will just turn on your heat or your cooling if for whatever reason it detects that your house has gotten too hot or too cold. So you want to put a broad range in here that is appropriate for the climate you live in. So we're just going to go ahead. If we wanted to click one of these, we could adjust this right here. And we're going to say we don't want it to get hotter than 100 degrees. We could go ahead and click on that. And if we never wanted the temperature to drop below 45 degrees in the house, we would just go ahead and set that here. So we're going to go ahead and scroll through this and then just click done. Now we're back at the settings menu for the Nest thermostat, and we're going to go ahead and click on fan schedule tab. The fan schedule tab allows you to independently run your fan of your HVAC heating and cooling. So let's say it's a nice day and you just want to circulate air in your house, or you want more even heating and cooling. You can allow your fan to run even after your HVAC system heat or cooling has turned off, so that the fan continues to circulate that hot or cool air throughout your home for more even heating and cooling. So I could click here and say run the fan always, and then I could go ahead and change the different times. But the first thing I'm going to do is, let's say I just want to run it every 15 minutes. I can go ahead and select this top option and then click 15 minutes per hour. So 15 minutes out of the hour, the HVAC fan will kick on regardless if I've got heating and cooling and circulate air throughout the house. Now I'm going to go ahead and just click select there, and I'm on to the times. So you could select this so that the fan only runs during certain times of the day. So let's say I wanted it to run from 6 a.m. until 5 p.m. to circulate air while I'm not here. I could go ahead and do that by making selections right here. And now I've got 5 p.m. and I would just go ahead and click set. And now I'm going to have the fan run from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because I don't want that, and just click disable by clicking here. Now we're going to go ahead and scroll over to the next option, which is Nest Sense. Now we're going to go ahead and click on the Nest Sense tab. And you can see that in this tab, this has many of the features that the Nest E thermostat is known for, like auto schedule, early on, and Sunblock. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the top one here, auto schedule. Now, I don't currently have auto schedule on because I like to have a very specific temperature for my Nest thermostat. But the auto schedule is designed to learn your preferences and create a schedule based on how you adjust the thermostat over a period of time. So if I wanted to turn that on, I would just go ahead and click yes here at the top and select it. So I click on that and it says your thermostat will start learning from your adjustments and add to your existing schedule. So I would just go ahead and click OK here, and now it will turn on that auto schedule feature. Now, my auto schedule is on. If I wanted to turn that off, I would just go ahead, go back to this tab and click off, and it will turn it off. It says your cooling auto schedule will be active for 19 days. So it's going to start learning my schedule over the next period of 19 days. I'm just going to go ahead and click continue here and go back to the main screen for Nest Sense and the Nest E features. Now, the time to temperature mode is just that time that we discussed earlier that the Nest will display on your thermostat that tells you how long it will take to get to a certain temperature. So nothing new to learn there. Now we're going to click on the early on feature. This is one of my favorite features, and what it does is preheat or cool so that your home is at the scheduled temperature at a scheduled time. So if I want my home 75 degrees at 5 p.m., the thermostat will automatically turn your home HVAC system on, let's say at 4:30, to start heating and cooling to get it to that specific temperature at exactly 5 p.m. Now, if I want to start the preheat or pre-cool process and have early on enabled, all I'm going to do is click on Start Early here. If I want the temperature to be adjusted when the actual set point is, I would click on Schedule. But I want it to be exactly that temperature at a particular time, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Start Early here. And now my HVAC system will turn on 15, 20 minutes or an hour early to get me to the precise set point that I have chosen on my schedule. Now we're going to go ahead and click on Cool to Dry on the Nest E thermostat. If you live in an area with high humidity, I recommend using this feature, and what it's going to do is use additional cooling to take humidity out of the air even after you've reached a temperature set point so that you don't have a humid feeling home. So if you live somewhere with high humidity, this feature might be worth it for you. I don't have super high humidity, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave this to no. Now, the next feature is the Sunblock feature for the Nest E thermostat. And what the Sunblock feature does is retard the temperature detected in the Nest thermostat by several degrees when it is in direct sunlight. So if the Nest thermostat is in really intense direct sunlight, let's say the middle of July in Florida, it can cause the Nest thermostat to not read temperature correctly because you're getting all that solar gain on the thermostat. Just like anything else in the sun, it will heat up. Now on the white thermostat, you don't have as much of an issue as you will have with one of the other colors with the black screen. However, this is a useful feature if you have really intense sun, you could turn the sunblock on. But unless this is in close proximity to a window where you're getting a ton of direct sunlight on the Nest thermostat, you probably don't need to utilize this sunblock feature. I would say probably 90% of the thermostats that I have seen installed do not need Sunblock turned on because they're not in a direct sunlight situation with a south-facing window that's putting really intense sun directly on the thermostat. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click no here. The next Nest E feature we're gonna look at is the leaf feature. It just displays a leaf when you are saving energy so that you know that you are saving energy and can help adjust your habits to save more energy with the Nest E. So we're just gonna go ahead and click done there. And the last feature is the Nest Airwave feature for the Nest E. What the Nest Airwave feature does is turn off your compressor before it turns off the fan for your HVAC system. Well, the compressor in your HVAC system is what uses the most energy when you are using air conditioning, and the fan uses a relatively small amount of energy. So what happens is those coils are still cool from the fluid coming from your compressor, and they go down to your HVAC system. And Nest Airwave is designed to keep pushing the fan over those coils to continue to get cooling out of those coils even after your compressor, which uses the majority of the energy in the HVAC system cycle when running on air conditioning, has turned off. So it's designed to help you save a little bit more energy during air conditioning season. So I'm gonna go ahead and click Airwave on because there's not really a disadvantage to running the Airwave setting while I've got my air conditioning on. So now we're just gonna go ahead and click done, and we're gonna go over to the next one. So here, this is reminders, and what we've got here is some reminders here that will tell you to change your air filter after a certain amount of time. I recommend changing your air filter whenever you switch from heating season to cooling system or every 6 months. It does help your HVAC system last longer, so you can go ahead and click continue here. It says, do you want your thermostat to remind you to change air filters? And I'm just gonna go ahead and select remind me. And now you choose when you last changed the air filter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say May. And now I will get a reminder eventually to change my air filter when it detects a certain amount of usage has happened with my HVAC system. And now I'm just going to get a reminder to change my air filters. However, I recommend just doing it at the beginning of heating season and cooling season, or if you're doing a home renovation project where you're getting a ton of dust, go ahead and change it when you're done with that home renovation project and check them periodically, because if you're sanding a lot, you're gonna get dust in your HVAC system, and that is not good for the longevity of your HVAC system. Now we're gonna go on to the next setting here. It says energy programs. I've got a video on each one of these energy programs, so go ahead and click on the links below in the description if you are interested in learning more about them. But Rush Hour Rewards is a program where you can get a utility rebate. Sometimes it's $10 a month for enrolling in the Rush Hour Rewards program, which is designed to help save energy during peak demand periods with the utility. So you enroll in the program, and let's say it's a 100-degree day. What Rush Hour Rewards will do is ask you to turn your air conditioning down for an hour or two, or it will pre-cool your house so that your air conditioning won't run during that peak demand time. And then it helps alleviate the load on the electrical grid during peak demand times, so that utilities don't necessarily have to have rolling blackouts. Now, seasonal savings, my utility provider does not give me a rebate for this. However, it is a program designed to fine-tune your schedule and help you save energy by using some of the information on your Nest thermostat. You can change your temperature at any time with the seasonal savings. I'm just gonna click done out of that. If you wanna learn more about it, you can click on those links below. But Rush Hour Rewards in my area does give you a utility rebate. Seasonal savings does not. So we're just gonna go ahead and click done there. Now, Nest Protect. You might wonder why this shows up on the Nest thermostat. Well, if you have a Nest Protect, you can use it in conjunction with your Nest thermostat, and your Nest smoke alarm will automatically turn off your HVAC if a fire or smoke is detected, so that you aren't circulating smoke throughout your house while you're trying to get out. Now, another benefit is that the Nest Protect system also has a carbon monoxide detector in it, And if your HVAC system is the source of the carbon monoxide leak and your Nest Protect detected carbon monoxide, it would automatically shut off your HVAC system if you have it connected to the Nest E, which I think is a great safety feature. So we're gonna go ahead and click yes on that, and it just gives us some advice here. But that is a nice integration with smart devices, because a lot of times HVAC systems can be a source of carbon monoxide. So having your carbon monoxide connected to your Nest E thermostat and your HVAC system is potentially a very good preventative measure. Now we're going to go to the next item. It says wake display when you pass by, and you can adjust this so that it will only wake when you press or when you pass by. Just by clicking down here, you can adjust either one. Now, if you want to get out of this, all you're going to do is rotate over to the next option, which is click sound. Some people like the tactile sound feedback that the Nest E thermostat is, but if you want to turn it off, you just click here and you can toggle that on or off. We're going to scroll over to the next one, which is our temperature settings. If you want Fahrenheit or Celsius, you can go ahead and just scroll over and click, and we can switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Now, if you have your Nest E thermostat connected to Wi-Fi, the date and time should automatically populate. But if for whatever reason you needed to adjust that, you could go ahead, select this, and then make the adjustment, set the time, or set the format. So if you want to have it on 24-hour, if you want to do military time, you could do that as well. But I'm just going to leave it on 12-hour and go ahead and click done here. So that is how you adjust the date and time on the Nest E. Now we're going to go to the language setting, and we can click here. If we want to adjust language, you can see a number of different options here: English, Spanish, French, Italian, and you can just make your selection. So I'm going to go ahead and click English US, and it has us confirm our choice, and then I click OK. Now I can scroll over to the next one here, which is the Nest app. You're not going to need to do anything here because we're assuming that you already have your Nest connected to the Nest app. And the next one is the Wi-Fi network. So I'm just going to blank it out for a second here. And then we're at the lock for the Nest thermostat. Now, the lock setting is designed to allow you to lock the thermostat for a certain temperature range or certain temperature by entering a code. So you could go ahead and enter lock here, and let's just put in 1, or we'll just do 0, and we'll do 0, 0, 0, and now I'm going to click continue. And it says, do you want to allow adjustment within this temperature range or one temperature? So I'm just going to set a temperature. Let's say we'll do 75 degrees, and we'll just leave it at that and click done. So now the Nest thermostat is locked. So maybe you have a retail establishment or restaurant and you've got a Nest thermostat, or you just don't want your temperature going above or below a certain temperature. You could lock it and then nobody can change that, right? So I need to enter the PIN to unlock my Nest thermostat. So I would do so. I'm just going to enter 0, 0, 0, and now it is unlocked. So now I can adjust the temperature again. So that lock setting could be beneficial to some of you if there's a reason that you need to set that setting. Now we're going to go to the equipment tab. It just shows you what wires you've got connected. So we're just going to go ahead and click done here on the Nest E. And now we're going to go to the next one, which is Nest Pro. If you had a Nest Pro installed it, they can put their information in here. And if you've got an issue, you can then contact them. It'll just pop up with their email address and phone number if you need some kind of HVAC service. This just has the software. You can go ahead and click here, and if you need to update the software, you can go ahead and manually update. Usually the Nest thermostat will automatically update, so this is not usually an issue. I'm going to go ahead and click update and see if I have a current update here. We'll see it's checking for a software update, and it says my software is up to date. So here we go. We are good to go there, and I'm just going to click done and get out of that. Now, the technical info tab really is only if you've got some kind of an issue with your Nest or you want to do some troubleshooting. So for most of you, there's no reason to look at this. It's just got different information on the power, the network, if you're having Wi-Fi connectivity problems or your Nest E thermostat is turning off, or if you need a common wire. This is a good way to look at that and see what's going on and diagnose problems within your Nest. So we don't need any of that. We're just going to go ahead and click done. And really, this is only if you've got some kind of a troubleshooting issue here. Now we're just going to go ahead and click done and scroll over to the next one, the legal info tab, which just has disclaimers in it. So we're going to go ahead and skip that. And if you needed to reset your Nest, if you're having issues with it, or let's say you're moving out of your house, you might need to reset your thermostat so that you clear all that personal information off of it. Or maybe you're moving into a house that has a Nest thermostat and you need to reset the existing user's information so that you can get into that Nest thermostat and start setting it up and use it on your account. You can reset it several different ways. The restart option is really if you're just having a problem with Wi-Fi, it turns it on and off. It's like cycling the power. You can reset the auto schedule so that goes blank. You can reset your away temperatures and you can reset your Nest E connection. But if you want to reset this thermostat to factory defaults, you're just going to go to all settings here. You're going to go ahead and click reset, and then you would turn this outer ring, click OK, and then that would start the reset process for your Nest E thermostat. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and click cancel here. If you want to learn how to reset your Nest E thermostat, we'll put a link to that below. We've got all kinds of information on that too. So we'll put some of our most popular Nest videos below so that if you want to learn more about your Nest E thermostat, you can do so. So thank you for watching this video on the Nest E thermostat. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give us that thumbs up, subscribe, and if you want to support us, click any of the links below. Thank you.